Just today, the military officially announced the official release of the new George 13 shirt. This is the second time in 10 or 2 years that the Stars have crossed the line of Battle 13 again. The most familiar PJ 13 is back. For her, this should be a memorable moment, but for George, it was a good idea. The deal is a huge success, and the company is still in the process of making a profit. He is still unable to get through the rest of the season safely. The report was not reported by journalist Karalis. If all goes well, law enforcement plans to contract George's contract and selected assets from the scrapping process. The game is a game of chance for players who are truly eligible to play. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules for the use of the internet in the country. The real-life TV word will not sell in a war-class way. The government has also been trying to get a better solution for the problem of the poor, and the government has been trying to get a better solution for the poor. The question is this really logical? The team is not only a team, but also a team that is a team. A series of operations over the past 2 years. The former champion squad is almost completely dismantled. The championship ring of the day has come down here. The reality TV is obviously the main responsibility. So George's future should be a contract. How do the Red Mountain forces surround the Tatung fighter fleet? The question is, are the current officials of the World Cup winners? The first is the greatest day of the world. The lawsuit was filed against the military in Washington, D.C. The problem is that the internet is not the only way to get information. This is what they believe in elections. I'm not sure what happened to the kids. George is already in the Civil War, the most valuable player in the world. The name of the ball is quoted. If the 4 British currencies in the world are to be equal, it must be oil, gold, dollars and George. The wording of the race. George's opinion is that he will be more likely to get sick from playing football. Low workload in key hiding. But the ability to change. The first is that the government is not going to be able to deal with the government. He has no stars to change. The first is that the government is not going to be able to do anything. The stars are different. The number of people who are overweight and obese is increasing. The value of the transaction often decreases. The first time I saw the video was in the video. But only George. He is in a bad condition. How much is the deal worth? The price of the goods is up. The first is that the city is not a city. For example, a youth debt relief district. George's first time retreating. The 6 yards that sent him to repent. The first is the Spanish and the Spanish. The first is that the government has not yet taken any action. The first 3 teams were the best, the defense and the fastest players to progress. The first is the small Shaban, which is traded as a bargain. The company also has 2 full-line stars. The government has also been trying to rebuild the core. The arrival of Hari Rapat. In the year 19, George is more than a war god. The biggest deal in the world was the one that shocked the world. He was not only raped. The 2 mountains of Adez have been taken to the mountains of the desert. The first is the Multimedia Championship. The game is a puzzle to choose a champion. The government has been trying to get the government to stop the violence. The elevator is located in the south of the city. The newest generation of the internet is now the most powerful generation in the world. The water is also a source of water for more than 25 years in the city of Lepan. Some of the sports are also honeyball. A new stadium is being built outside the stadium. The statue of George. The following is the deal that happened last month. The report also highlights the impact of the coronavirus on the country's population. The price of 2 wheels and 2 wheels is just 2 hands. He was arrested for drug trafficking. The Green Mountain Army is in the process of being rebuilt. The army has changed its command. Brown is close to 30 stars ahead. The operation was officially successful for 76 people. The country is a member of the UN. So we'll see later. George is once again at the forefront of the fight. 2 big stars for 76 people. The situation of the right-wing coalition. The ability to change the fate of the team. The story of the first man to die in the world is not a story. How to make it fashionable. The most valuable player in the world. You are famous indeed. In this context, Green Mountain Army has been heavily criticized in the past. The government has also tried to put George on the stock market to buy him. The first is that the planet is a simulation of the magic of the stars. The hospital is expected to buy. According to journalist Karatis, The first time I saw this was in the last few days. Television management is calling. The deal is expected to be completed by the end of the year. The current fundraising includes George. The neck looks like a pair of gloves from the lungs. The mystery is being told by the mysterious. As long as the brain of the Dalai Lama is not in the water, the deal is not a mistake. On the one hand, Kurasuk is in a hurry. The government has not been able to take action on the issue. The other side, the money was given to Brown. The video is available for free download. I'm not going to say anything about the Korean people. The stars of that class are. The current market situation. Yushin wants to find a real star-level warrior. It's not easy. The first is that the government is not going to be able to keep up with the demands of the people. The first is that the country is not a country. The government has also been trying to get the government to pay more. How to get a better deal. The first time I saw the deal was in the middle of the month. The government has already declared that Stevens is screwing up everything. The biggest problem is that they changed Brown to George. The power of the country is clearly down. It looks like it's going to be rebuilt. The free market is a free market. The following is a list of the most common types of cancer. The first is the sexy attitude. The first is that the system is not working. The Syrian government has been trying to get rid of the George deal after the Syrian government failed to negotiate the deal. What are the prospects for Yesen's new season? The only good news is that the first is that the first is that the second is that the second is that the second is that the third 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 is that the third. The government is not going to be able to keep up with the demands of the people. At least not in the same situation as Brown. The first stage of George's primary goal, the new deal is definitely stable and big. The first is that the price is not going to be paid. How the specific team is positioned. The first time I saw this, I was surprised to learn that it was not a very good thing. So in the city of Taoyuan, you don't have to worry about Yushin. George will be like Brown. The central role of the tower is to shake the tower. But on the pitch, this is another thing. Theoretically, this is not true. In some ways, George is a good man. The role of Brown's replacement. For example, before he was given a ball, the game is still available in a few places. The first is the surgery. In the defense unit, the risk is broad. He was also able to integrate into Mazu's defense system. Even the point of fusion. Last season, the army cast 2.7% of the votes against Georgia. It's better than Brown. The ballroom. But the truth is, you want to hang it. I'm not sure what happened to my mother. It's a need for one. Players who can boost productivity. We can't do that because of the past 4 seasons. The first time I saw the video was in the video. I was born in the Philippines. The government has denied this. I'm not sure what happened. The first is that you can be healthy. The first time the team was in the top 10 was in the last quarter of the season. But he is essentially, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. I'm not sure what I'm saying. How to get rid of it. The first is the new military. The attackers also launched a military offensive. I'm more than good at it. The first is the fireflowers. The VVD system. The arrows are the same. Totem has been around for a long time. The situation is not stable. If we changed George a few years ago, the couple must be in sync with the zodiac. The job market. George is now 36 years old. The first is the scoring of the game. His current role. 3 enemies closer to functional. The game is not a long-term stable game. What is the result of this? You are the one who is responsible. Maybe it's still a 50-win team. The 2 men will not be disappointed. But to the high-end office, they're on the line. The top is very limited. I'm going to end with a word. George is not the problem. But compared to Cole, he is not a big fan of the new technology. It's not the same. The story of Yesen's death. And don't forget about it. The first is the story of that. But I've just returned to the mountains. The team will be in the standings. He was granted a suspended sentence. George is a young man. The number of people who are not in the country is also very high. 2 years in 7-6. The game was played in 78 matches. If both of them don't get in, you are the one who is responsible. I'm really looking forward to the next few days. It's not fair. How can we save the world? This is why we are here. Why is Yushin so anxious? I want to move George. The first is that the country is not a democracy. They don't waste money. The electricity of Tatum. I'm still trying to catch that breath. What to do about it? George is delayed. Obviously not the answer. They want a healthier one. How to get rid of the problem. The balls are more compatible. This is why I am here. The first is the public prosecution. How to test the hero's management. Kuri is the center of the historic offensive. The ability to communicate with Tatum. The chemical reaction. The site is located. The same can be said for the other two. She is also a former world champion. This is Yesun, the best enhanced version of the game. It's finished. The first is that the country is not a country. The story of the heroes. The first is that the government is not going to be able to do anything. The first is the personal. The first time I saw the fire, I was in the middle of a fire. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm not sure what I'm doing. The story is about a young boy who is a teenager. I'm not sure what the answer is. He is unlikely to be at this stage of his career. I'm going to take risks. The Warriors are blind for a second, but still respecting the famous stars. The government has not yet approved the deal. So, what is the meaning of this? I'm not sure what to do. The goal of the campaign is to make it more realistic. The first is that the government is not going to be able to keep the people in jail. The team is rebuilding the core of the team that is on the brink of collapse. For example, the magic building. The host is not welcome. The film is about a young boy who is a black man. These are the stars. There are some. The search for the monkey. Why you should leave. The first is that the government is not responsible for the deaths. The best chance to start. Maybe not this year. Next year. First of all, I want to be a leader. The current nuclear barrel is made of balls. 2 years left. The season 27-28. The player's choice. But he chose to run for office. The top of the board is almost the same as the top of the board. This is why we are here. The price of the transaction. The current ball system. It's at a low point. Other teams. It is unlikely to be accepted. The nuclear barrel of a conference. But next year, the identity of the ball system. The first is the nuclear barrel. I'm going to go. The difficulty of dealing with the transaction has changed. They are coming. The following is a list of. I want to see more of the future. The team is looking for new space for investment. The decision to leave the country is a welcome one. The second, under the new capital rules. The new funding from the Green Mountain Army. The second line of land use. This is what we need. They can be in the bargaining process. The game is free to play. The deal is mentioned in the video above. The ball still has some strategic value. What is the meaning of this? He is also a famous photographer. I'm not sure. The two-handled tag was removed. The average age is 28. The 5 protections of 3-1. I'm not sure what I'm saying. If you pay more, you can pay more. The player's assets. Green Mountain Army. There is a chance. The first is the greatest day of the world. The first is the trade horse. In a way, the situation and the momentum are similar. The future is bright. Just need to raise rates. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a job. The first time I saw the video was in the video. 2 years later, the new capital space is stable. Young players grow. The first is the election of the president. The first is the personal. The first is that the government is not going to fight. The team is back in the normal position. I'm not sure. The first is the creation of a new world. The flood is inevitable. The first time I saw this was in the middle of the night. He was also the last person to be killed. The Green Mountain Army is on its way to training camp. The government has already banned the entry of people to the country. This is a good example. The so-called respect and tolerance. The NBA is not a big deal sometimes. So you think, will the Green Mountaineers trade the ball again? I'm not sure. The audience. The game is played in a single game. Give me the channel. We'll see you next time.